Hello and welcome to My Life in a Biscuit Tin from Good Housekeeping. I am Liz Moseley and I'm joined today to explore the precious items and personal things of the very gorgeous, living well, cooking well, self-taught culinary mastermind that is Melissa Hemsley. Hello, Melissa.
Hello to you, Liz.
And I'm so sorry about your hay fever.
Can
we start by saying...
I'm sorry for you having to watch me snort and hear the snorts and the snuffles.
Your eyes are streaming.
They're streaming. But, you know, such is the price to pay for nature. I love nature. I love trees. I love bees.
Not birch, you said, is the key thing.
Birch. The time of year you can look up. If you're so sad as I am to look up which pollen and dander you're allergic to, it's birch.
I'm really sorry for you.
Yeah, and I don't know what other tree and bud is going to get me next week, but
you're so good with, as you say, nature, food. You're the kind of the original, just cook proper food. It will make you feel good kind of a girl. What's your routine when the hay fever bites? What do you reach for?
Okay, so funny you should say that.
May I? Yes, do.
Well, I was like, you are smooth.
Reach into the tin. Let's see.
I try and go for anti-inflammatory.
Okay.
High vitamin C. Mm-hmm. Luckily, they're all delicious ingredients, not anything like you need to hold your nose to have. So lots of ginger and turmeric and lots of citrus and berries.
Okay, sounds nice, actually.
And actually, I've just bought me, it's a knob of ginger is one of my items.
So obviously this is a metaphorical biscuit tin that we're collecting precious things for, because this wouldn't be the literal only ginger. This particular ginger isn't the special one.
No, there's nothing special about that.
It's a general ginger specialness.
It's general ginger, yeah.
And why?
Well, when I thought about what's special to me, my mum is incredibly special and we haven't always got on, and I wouldn't say we necessarily are best friends now. We really can rub each other up the wrong and right ways, but we've been living with her for a bit and she is the most amazing grandma. And I think where she wasn't the mum I wanted, like she wasn't the very cuddly mum and like have a snack mum, wonderful in other ways, just watching her be a grandma is amazing. And ginger is the ingredient, the smell, the taste, she sums up. She's from the Philippines and ginger which is a collection of 7,000 islands in Southeast Asia, and ginger is one of their key ingredients. And I just think ginger is such a fantastic thing. And I make ginger lemonade, limeade. I love ginger broths, ginger coconut curries, like ginger on steamed fish with chili sauce. Like it's just, for me, comfort. And I love it. And it is a wellness ingredient since ancient times all over the world. And I just think it's such a lovely ingredient.
Let's dig into that a bit. I can't let that sentence go. She wasn't the mum I wanted.
As I said that, I thought, oh God, she's going to see that clip and then she's going to go, what have you said?
But it's really interesting because now you're a mum and you're... what age?
She is like coming up to 2.
Okay, so still really little, your
Tiny,
daughter.
yeah.
I think your relationship with your mum changes when you have a child yourself.
And everyone says that, so you're kind of waiting for it.
Yeah. And so tell me how you've interpreted the mum you had into the mum that you became.
Well, I think there's the mum you think you want, or the mum that the sort of the dream fantasy mum, and it is a fantasy because it's maybe like a collection of what you watch Disney-wise, the Darling Buds of May. Like I wanted... Ma, do you ever watch Darling Buds of May? Ma Larkin.
Pam Ferris. What a woman.
And everyone's like, oh, she's amazing in Matilda. I'm like, no, you need to watch Darling Buds of May. Anyway, and my mum just worked so hard and I really respect that, but she wasn't around lots. And
what was she doing? What did she do for a living?
She worked for a software asset management company, which I think is amazing because she cannot do tech. But, you know, anyway. And my dad was in the army. He's now passed. So he was away for, long periods of time.
Yeah.
My mum sort of drove me to, I was a ginormous baby. And my mum drove herself to her cesarean, sort of got herself home and sort of had my older sister as well at home and just sort of looked after herself. And then my dad came back from wherever he was, a few months later. And I just think it was really tough for my mum. And she's from the Philippines. And I think without wanting to be stereotypical, I think there was an element of being an immigrant and going, I want my children to have amazing opportunities and not waste a single thing. And she was really hard on me. So I just, at times wanted to really cuddly, come and have a snack, let's cuddle and say, I love you, mum. And I got that from lots of my friends' mums who I'm still really good friends with now. And actually living at my mum's for the last 3 months, I've been seeing those mums. And now my mum is the cuddliest. I just got a text coming in. She's taken her to a seafood restaurant on the River Thames.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, what are you guys doing having lunch at 3, whatever, 1? And 2, my mum didn't take me to restaurants. She said, there's always something we can eat at home that's cheaper and better. And my mum would always be like, we're not eating out unless it's somebody's birthday. And even then she would say, oh, let me just make something at home. It's cheaper and better.
So that's the beginnings of your ability to cook. I mean, you're a self-taught chef.
She didn't even teach me.
Right.
It was when I left home and realised, gosh, you know, how good was my mum's food? Because when you leave home and you realise you've got to look after yourself or buy food out, you realise how good the foundations that you were getting at home. So yeah, it did teach me. And actually, I've written 6 cookbooks now, and every single one of them, it feels like my mum, I'm just writing things that my mum parroted over and over again. I'd be like, oh, be quiet, or, you know, I would never say that. No. But I'd be like, oh God, here we go again. And then here's me dishing out the same advice.
Give us some gems from your mum.
She would just say, like, you know, leftover. She wouldn't quite say it like this, but, you know, I would say it in my book. Like, you know, leftovers are amazing rollover meals.
Yeah.
You know, you're halfway to the next meal.
Yeah.
I need to make that more catchy. Can you help me workshop that after? I mean, hers would just be like, just eat it. But she's so true. You know, leftovers are delicious. Everything tastes better the next day. You are halfway to your next meal. Why should you go out and spend your hard-earned money on food that's maybe not necessarily that great, that good for you, and is like delicious for 5 minutes, but maybe doesn't make you feel great afterwards?
Your latest book is kind of leaning into this ultra-processed food thing, which has become a phrase that everybody says. We've all watched Chris Van Tulleken on the telly. We kind of know what that is now. Yeah. But I definitely find it very difficult to avoid.
Oh, yeah, it is. Me too. So we all know that ultra-processed food, by that we mean food that's been tampered with, manipulated with. And I say that all food's had something done to it, because we're not pulling carrots. This is not the good life. I mean, I am from Surbiton, but this is not, real life is not the good life. We're not pulling carrots out the ground. So all food has been worked with to some degree, but we're talking about the food that's so different from what we would know as food, so different from how we might make it if we were to make that dish at home. And quite a lot of the time doesn't even have food in it. It's not food necessarily. Anyway, ultra-processed food is a ginormous topic. There's no universally agreed standard for it. So that's what makes it really confusing. And we know that eating a diet rich in ultra-processed foods for much of the time can lead to serious health, physical and mental health outcomes. So we know that. The difficulty is now
what to do about it.
So a couple of things. One of them, which goes back to what my mum did, is make use of the fact that most of us have got a fridge and most of us have got a freezer.
Yeah.
So meal prep and batch cook, not everything, but your favourites. So probably if you love a bolognese, you have already made more than you need, because you know it's going to be
definitely
20 out of 10 the next day.
Yeah.
But maybe you're going to portion it up in a different way, and maybe you're going to split it up into different portions. Maybe you're going to do a little tweak to it, and maybe it's going to become, I don't know, a cottage pie the next day, and maybe you're going to add some potato and sweet potato mash onto that leftover bit you've frozen and turn it into something else. Maybe you're going to freeze a curry paste that you've made, because it's a bit of a faff to do it for one meal.
Yeah.
And you might normally have bought a ready-made one, but maybe you don't want to eat all the ingredients that are in there that you're not sure about. So maybe you're freezing it in little, I don't know, an ice cube tray. And then one day...
like you do for your baby when you're weaning your baby, the ice cube tray thing.
Exactly.
I never thought of that as a grown-up.
Yeah. Reuse all of that stuff. I know people that use their old breast milk collecting...
Oh, God.
No, not reuse one, but, you know, because they come in like packs of like 5,000.
Yeah, exactly.
When they've stopped breastfeeding or stopped having kids, or maybe they didn't take to breastfeeding, they'll just use them to portion things up. And I mean, here's us talking about...
waste not, want not.
Waste not, want not. And I mean, if there's plastic in the system already, keep it in there. Don't, whatever you do, don't just waste it. And so here we're talking about a bolognese, a curry paste, but maybe it's something like, you know, yogurt bark, chocolate, a smoothie.
Yogurt bark?
Yogurt bark.
Yogurt bark.
I knew as soon as I said it, you were going to go, what's that? I can't be asked to explain it. Only because I was thinking of something more interesting to say, but now you want to talk about yogurt bark. Okay, so this feeds into quite a lot of what all my books do, which is talk about not wasting food. Here's my mum again and my army dad.
Yeah.
You know, always, you said, what things do they say? Well, my mum used to say every grain of rice, and she'd say every time you waste a grain of rice, basically think of a starving child for every grain of rice you leave. So that was intense. And then my mum and dad would also be like, if you don't eat everything on your plate, innards and gizzards and everything that comes with everything, you're going to be the first to die in a war. So, those are sort of Catholic army, the words I can hear going around my house.
Relaxing meal times around yours when you were growing up.
I would say it's my household's opposite of relaxing.
Yeah.
Really nice living in it now because it is relaxing.
Yes.
But yogurt bark, he said.
Yes.
So yogurt bark is when you've got leftover yogurt and it's not really enough for like a breakfast portion. It's not really enough, but you don't want to waste it. So you can just put it into said breast milk bags, or if you don't have breast milk bags, just any kind of like vesicle, and you freeze it. And what you can do is you can put nuts on top. You can do a drizzle of honey.
So it's literally frozen yogurt.
It's frozen yogurt, but as a bark, and you can snap it off.
Fun.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Delicious too.
Yeah.
No waste. If a nice free snack, because you were going to throw away that yogurt before. That's why it's free. In case you're like, what? How is free yogurt in my freezer? So Real Healthy, my book, is about trying to, you said, what did you say? Easy, quick and everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can't deal with the everywhere because I can't, I'm not Keir Starmer.
Empty out the supermarkets.
I'm not Keir Starmer if he made some decisions on food. I can't empty out the supermarkets. And also the supermarkets will continue selling what we ask for.
Of course,
So if we keep asking, if we ask for more real food, we should get it. And so if the best thing you want to do to make your life easy is to cut back on ultra-processed foods, I would say stop thinking about ultra-processed foods. Just think, can I get more real food in? Can I get more whole food? And, once a week, maybe I'll pick one less ultra-processed food and I'll add one more herb, one more spice, one more vegetable, one more grain in instead. By the end of the year, that's 52 less ultra-processed foods, 52 more real foods.
What else have you got in your biscuit tin to add to
What
your
else
knob
have I got
of
in my
ginger?
biscuit tin? Oh, I might have some now because I feel like I'm babbling.
Okay, so a little bottle.
Little blue bottle by a lady called Saskia.
Drop a pipette
With a
on
drop
the
of
top.
pipette. I'm going to have some. Do you want some?
I don't know. What is it?
It's called Strength and Support.
Okay, that sounds
And it's got organic vodka, 18.75. I mean, you're working. I'm not. I haven't got my boss here. Energy imprint of beech. Oh my God, I thought it said birch then. I was like, I do not want birch. Energy imprint of beech, borage, cherry plum, evening primrose, gorse, pine, rock rose, twayblade. Someone Google that. White chestnut, as opposed to regular chestnut.
And what do you do? Little drops under your tongue sort of thing?
I just love a tincture.
In it goes. And what does it do? Can I have a little look?
Please. Well, a lot of people would say it's hocus pocus. For me, as somebody that's been taking tinctures like this for a long time, I kind of don't care. If it's a placebo effect, then that's fine.
What's
because
that little
it makes
yellow
me feel
bottle,
better.
the branded one?
Bach's Rescue Remedy.
Yeah, Rescue Remedy. It's like that. It looks like that when you do it. Yeah.
It's like that. And I discovered this brand with a lovely lady called Emine, who's actually a fantastic journalist who I met at a other magazine, which I shall not mention.
Yeah, no, absolutely
don't
not.
mention the magazine. She's not there anymore. She sent me, when I became a new mum, a little trio of these called New Mum Trio Support when I was losing my mind.
Yeah.
And
Did you find it really tough?
Yeah, I think
It's hard.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, awful.
Yeah. And I remember saying to my psychiatrist, she was like, how are you? And I was like, wow, I've got diagnosed ADHD, I've got diagnosed anxiety. I'm definitely going to get, postnatal depression, aren't I? And she was like, whoa there. Anyone could get it, whether they're, the most happy, chilled, together person ever.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get it. And she's like, and we and your support system, your friends and family, it's something that you'll be able to get through. So,
And did you develop?
It's difficult to know. No one diagnosed me with it. But I think just by being, in many ways, having other mental health challenges were learnings, because I thought to myself, well, what can I do? Not to stop it, because it's a train. You can't stop that train. You can be aware of it. And I did say to a few friends, if I push you away, keep coming back.
Yeah.
But I know all of those from previous
Other
bouts of
experiences,
depression and so on. And my baby was an frozen IVF baby after several miscarriages. So there were all of these things wrapped up in it. But I think if you're a new mum and you have had like the easiest pregnancy and the easiest way of getting it can affect people in different ways. Yeah. But I got this new mum support tincture, and it just was just so fantastic. And I just keep going back to them now and buying them. And I always, you know, in my different rucksacks or coats, there's always one of them around. And I really believe in them. And they're the sort of thing I give as gifts. And I could just see people going, oh, thanks. And then they'll message me and go, do you know what? Just seeing it or seeing it in the bottom of my handbag is quite nice.
There's something reassuring about it being there. Something reassuring. Yeah, interesting.
They should do a line called the reassuring drops. Because, again, whatever floats your boat, if I was to sort of go into a big meeting or go to a doctor's appointment or I'm just having a really hard time, you know, just seeing it in the bottom of my handbag is handy.
Should you have a biscuit?
Please.
Now, you have
wondering why you haven't offered one.
To acquire, and it's not very good housekeeping, is it? Good quality shortbread was the brief.
Yes.
So we have selected, because you didn't specify a brand,
No.
Highgrove shortbread, the King's shortbread.
The King's shortbread.
Is that sufficiently high quality for you?
That's fine.
Okay.
That will do.
I'm pleased that you're accepting it.
And I like that because I'm a King's Trust ambassador.
There you go. These are nice.
And can I just take the opportunity as a King's Trust ambassador to say, please support. One of the wonderful things about the King's Trust, which was set up in the 1970s, is that it's focused on young people in the UK. So that's really fantastic.
Yeah.
And the part that I mostly am involved with is the campaign called Change a Girl's Life. It's like, you know, years-long campaign. It's not just like a little thing.
Yeah.
And we do something called the Brilliant Breakfast. And it's one thing where we say, get your friends together and maybe put a little bit of money in the pot that you might have spent going out for brunch and maybe donate that to the amazing training and workshops. So some of the things I do is I go and do cooking classes for young women. And it's not just about cooking. It's about, you talk about confidence as you're cooking, because cooking is a confidence thing.
Yeah.
It's people thinking, I don't know how to nourish myself, or I won't do that. And that's the other thing, going back to what do we do if we were Keir Starmer? What do we do about it? We've got to teach people how to cook and give them access. Am I right in thinking you're going to have some kitchens here?
I am going to have some kitchens.
Well,
we are going to have some kitchens.
I'll be bringing some King's Trust young women here, perhaps,
we
on
would
days that you're not using the
brilliant
kitchen.
Breakfast to get some cooking going would be fantastic.
Yeah, because there's a lack of kitchens. So if there's anyone, you know, if you've got a spare kitchen, let me cook in it.
Let's have a shortbread. I'm going in.
So Highgrove, okay, so I just want to know exactly that they actually are, they're inspired by the Royal Gardens at Highgrove. I was wondering if they're there. So first of all...
That is very nice, I think.
And look at this. By purchasing these, Liz, you've also supported the King's Foundation. So thank you.
Very good.
They're produced in Scotland.
Delicious and good for the world.
Oh my God, they're delicious.
Really good. There's just the right amount of give in it, I would say. Crumbly, but not disintegrating, melt in the mouth.
I've never had these, and thank you for getting good quality. And by that I meant proper butter, because that's what shortbread is. And this one is 34% butter.
Lovely.
And what I love about that is...
Enjoy it. Savour it.
Oh, that's a great one. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just working out how many each of them is fat. You need fat. Your brain's made of fat.
Yeah.
Our sex hormones are made of fat. A lot of the vitamins, vitamin D, E, A, and K, are fat soluble. You need fat. So the idea of fat is bad for you and the fear-mongering around fat, I think, has gone away.
Yeah.
And people are now understanding that fat is an important part of our diet.
Yeah.
And so the other thing about fat is it makes things satisfying. So if they made these biscuits without butter, you'd eat the whole pack because you'd be chasing that feeling that we are just literally sat here going, God, that bite is good.
It's really lovely.
It's got that lovely bit of satisfying.
If you were going to bake a biscuit, which I'm sure you do,
I'm not a baker.
Really?
No.
Just cooking, she says, but you're not interested in baking at all.
See, this is the thing, baking is so hard.
You would be able to do it. I mean,
I think the thing I like about cooking is seeing what's there and freestyling. The thing about baking is you've got to be exact. So I don't know why I wanted to be a doctor and why I did science A-levels and now doing a biomedicine degree, because I'm not exact. Maybe a bit like, we're all a bit sort of opposites, aren't we? But like maybe a bit of me likes a bit of science, but when it comes to cooking...
You want to chuck it together.
I want to chuck it together. So I love going to bakeries. I love people that bake because I think that's a real... Not that I'm saying that non-baking isn't hard. There's loads of different tricky techniques, but I think bakers really put their heart into it because
it's kind of magic as a non-baker, or similarly a non-baker.
Yeah. Why aren't you a baker?
Laziness, probably.
Yeah, I think the same. You've got to concentrate. And maybe that's why people get into the magic and flow of it, because when they're baking, they have to just bake.
Meditative, I think.
Yeah,
particularly
and
bread
concentrate.
making, I think, is super meditative.
Yeah, I want to be the sourdough girl. I'm not the sourdough girl, but I'm happy.
The sort of manky
everyone else
jar of
is.
something alive that has to live in your kitchen all the time. I'm not
And
really
like
down
another
with
thing
it.
to worry about.
Yeah, keep that alive as well as the plants and the children. The things that you've brought to put in your biscuit tin are the most practical things we've had so far.
Are they?
Yes. But
Oh,
in
I
your
so want to know.
hand, you're holding something unpractical potentially. What is that?
Yes. So this is when I was. It's funny because it's
Is it
touched
a marble?
on. Oh my god!
It looks like a marble.
I bought an expensive crystal, and I could have just got a little marble from a kid's shop, couldn't I? Would you like to touch it?
Am I allowed?
Please. I mean, it's been all over the floor.
Oh, it's really hot.
I'm very sweaty.
Okay, so little white. And it's a crystal.
Crystal. I don't ask me what type of crystal. I have no idea. And so this is the thing. I like knowing things. Like I'll say, oh yeah, it's because I'm so Virgo. Don't know, and you know, don't know anything else.
Who knows what that means?
Yeah. But I also don't know anything else about anyone else's star sign. You know, and I'll be like, oh well, you know, someone just told me we're coming to the end of a 9-year cycle. So you know, there's been a lot of shedding going on because we're at the end of the 9 years. So get ready for things to get better, Liz.
Oh wow, exciting.
Have you had a rubbish 9 years?
I've had quite an exciting 9 years. Quite lots of change in my 9 years. Yeah, lots of
as
upheaval.
one might expect in a whole decade.
Yes, indeed.
So I that's as far as I go in that sense. Like I like to know things. I do like to know when the moon is full, and I do like crystals. Again, it's a reassurance piece for me. But what on a serious note is what I do like is when I was struggling with my fertility and my mental health. Who knows if they were wrapped
Connected.
up. So many people sent me crystals.
Really?
Yeah. And one person sent me a crystal that she had been given by someone else who was having multiple miscarriages. That person had then got pregnant and sent her the crystal. She then sent me the crystal. And then...
Is this the crystal?
It's not the crystal. And I'll tell you why it's not the crystal. No, I'll tell you why it's not the crystal is because then the woman that had given me the crystal said to me, have you still got the crystal? Bearing in mind, it's my baby's like 20 months old. I was like, I do have the crystal. How many times am I going to say crystal? But I'm not living at my house, I'm living at my mum's. And she went, oh, because somebody else needs a crystal because they're having multiple miscarriages.
Baby crystal.
And then I was like, oh God. Then I found the crystal and now I've sent it to the next person who I've never met, will never probably meet, but we are all just passing around this lovely crystal. And the person that sent me the crystal is the most will take the piss out of crystals person ever.
Really? Because I am a bit that person, I have to say. I'm not here to judge, like, whatever floats your boat kind of thing.
Yeah.
I can't get my head around how a crystal can be magic.
No. I think it is going back to what it's is it reassurance that you said? Is it reflection? Is it just seeing something and take, look at you. You're not a crystal person, but you are stroking my crystal left, right and centre.
I'm fondling it like something.
Look at it. Can we get a close up on how she's like, I'm not a crystal person.
I feel a bit like David Bowie in Labyrinth. You know, he has a round crystal in his...
When she's like, the person who will win the lottery this week is someone who has a cat.
Could be you.
Or knows a cat.
Yes.
Or has touched a cat.
Has touched a cat, exactly. So this is your crystal that you now have.
Yeah, and I think that one in particular, I probably have 7, let's say. That's maybe a bit of 5.
That you've bought in a crystal shop?
I think almost all of them have come from other people.
Gifts, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, I've got one from a lady, I mean, very crystally placed, Totnes in Devon. Yeah. Beautiful place, want to live there. One friend sent me, and she was like, oh, me and my kids were at the market today, and they saw that crystal, and they knew you'd had a hard time, popped it in the post, you know, like a tiny little crystal.
Cute.
So cute.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it's a rock. I mean, it is a type, but, you know, I kind of, again, something that in my house of whirlwind, I haven't managed to lose them yet.
Yeah.
That's no word.
Yeah, interesting.
You know, so they keep popping up.
For somebody who is a person of science, because you are, literally, you're studying it, you're open to...
Yeah. I think I'm a big old yin-yang ball, if I'm honest. I'm sort of on my medications for my diagnosed mental health challenges, and I'm really glad and thankful that there's that. But at the same time, I want to explore the other ways. And then in some ways, sort of, I throw myself into work till I'm sick in the teeth of it, and then in other ways I just want to retreat. And it's been interesting being a mum and working the entire time through because I'm self-employed, there's no maternity leave, and just sort of wanting to give it all up and roll around, you know, sort of my tablecloth dress and make sourdough. And then also just absolutely loving what, but I think a lot of us are. I think I was about to say the word lean in and then I thought, oh, you're being so cringe. But there's different things and I feel like I contradict a lot.
I think we all have versions of ourselves, don't we?
Yeah.
That coexist. And sometimes one version of yourself necessarily becomes the dominant version because it has to, because work or whatever. Yeah. And other versions get sidelined. But then ideally, each version would get to have a bit of a go.
Yeah, have a time to shine. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I feel like with a similar age, is that now more than ever, I feel like everybody I know is either unwell with serious illness or has a loved one very close to them unwell. And I know people that would never ever take anything other than like standard, like what you could get in a pharmacy things. Yeah. And now people are really interested in, okay, maybe there's, I don't know, some trauma. Or maybe someone's had a massive operation and they're the sort of person that would never want to talk about the word trauma. And now they're like, you know what? I'm still suffering 2 years on. Maybe something is held up in there. I had a cesarean and a doubly infected wound, which was fun. Oof. And I could just feel myself. I was like, I just need to sort of just be a bit annoyed about that for a bit in order to get on with motherhood.
Yes.
Major surgery and everything's been messed around with and it's not what I necessarily wanted and got. And I know people that have had a hip operation. My friend's dad's had a builder, had a hip operation. And then I'm like, do you think he'd be interested in some turmeric? Give me his address, I'm going to send him some. You take the turmeric. Whereas before he'd have laughed at it. And I think it's really fun when people are open to just trying something. Like, why not?
How does turmeric help you recover from major surgery?
Oh my God. Well, as a non-qualified person...
Yes, but what was your thinking? You obviously thought turmeric would be a thing.
An anti-inflammatory.
Oh, okay.
It's a good old anti-inflammatory. Things are a little bit swollen.
People swear by turmeric, don't they? Like, it's a real thing that people...
go to Asia, it's part of their medicinal cabinet. And why not? And, he took it. And I was like, maybe you don't want to sort of make a ginger bath. I was like, you grate a bit of ginger, put it in the bath. Some people are like, I'm all right, but I might try an Epsom salt bath.
Yes, yeah.
Because adding salt into my water feels like, making spaghetti. Just add a bit of salt. But I'm not going to do your idea of grating ginger in and a bit of turmeric because I don't want an orange bath.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting and fun how we sort of have our things that are our things. And then sometimes, something might stray into our path and we're like, never in a million years. And then maybe one day it does become a little bit less bizarre. I know you're not saying it's bizarre, but I'm also trying to be more open in general. And someone I know who's 88 years old and still running his own company, one of the things he credits to just being fun and innovative and keeping his energy up is he works with young people because he wants to know what other people like. And by young, I mean everyone's younger than him because he's 88.
Yeah.
But he's just curious and he wants to constantly not get stuck in his ways because it is tempting as we get older to just be like, this is the way I do it.
There is a real joy, actually, spending time with older people in their 80s, even 90s. We have some of the women that read Good Housekeeping, have been reading Good Housekeeping for 50 years. And it is brilliant to meet them because they are every bit as funny, curious, open, changing all the time, learning, doing new things. Yeah. And that's one of the great privileges of this job, but also there's just a real pleasure in hanging out with, I think, people who have really seen some stuff in their lives.
Yeah. I regret not having known a grandparent, very much so.
You never knew any of them?
No, the only one that was living when I'm lying. I met one when I was 4, but pre-memories.
Yeah.
But interesting you say that. How do I feel about ghosts? I don't know. But my granny Rosemary, who passed away, I almost bought you actually a sprig of rosemary. It's not her. It's like not her ashes in a bush. But I mean, I love the herb rosemary. I almost bought you a clipping from my mum's garden because it would have been so lovely. And I would have ended up talking about how many good things you can do with rosemary post-hip operation.
Yes.
She died the month before I was born, and I swear, my mum, I can remember it now, I swear when I was about 3 or 4, I mean, old enough to have a tricycle, however old that is, and I just have this vivid memory of cycling around then going back into my house, it's like on a little army base in Kingston, where sort of all the houses, like imagine like one massive big cul-de-sac. I remember cycling around and then going back to the house, and she was there having tea with my dad and just going like, hi, I'm back, and then going back out again. And my mum's like, that never happened. And we didn't have any other older women coming around. And I'm like, I know it and I remember it.
Interesting.
I know.
Well,
how do you feel about ghosts?
I'm a no on ghosts.
Right. So do you believe in no spirits?
That said, I have had ghost experiences. Yeah.
Okay, quickly tell us, quickly, please.
Oh gosh, the story is I had a very dear friend, Alison. We were probably 13, 14. Her mum and dad bought a really big old house, an old rectory in the Lake District, and turned it into a B&B. And on the process of doing up the B&B, she and I sometimes would stay the night in the bit of the house that wasn't being done up, if that makes sense. And we were sleeping at the time because it was all sort of in various states of disrepair and being done upness. And we slept in a sofa bed in the room that had been at one time the kitchen, which had one of those big, like a hole for a range cooker that wasn't there anymore. And in the hole for the range cooker that wasn't there anymore was a big, heavy piece of black ebony furniture. Really, really, really big, heavy block of thing. And we'd been trying that day with her dad to get it out so we could kind of clean behind it.
You are.
Well, maybe, I don't know what was going on. We couldn't move it. It was massive. We couldn't move it. Anyway, forgot about it. We went out, probably drank some cider on a bit of grass, talked to boys, came home, went to bed in the sofa bed. And in the morning, when we woke up in the morning, the piece of furniture was not anymore in the ingle nook. It was in the middle of the room. And there's no way that anybody could have moved it. So, go figure. God. Chills.
I'm chilling. And my stomach dropped at the same time. I chilled and stomach dropped.
My ghost in a biscuit tin from Good Housekeeping, everyone.
What did you all say? Did you all just go, okay, that's the ghost then, that you don't believe in?
I can't remember what how I felt or anything. I can remember there was a very strong smell of popcorn in the room when we woke up, and 2 rings that I had been wearing, 2 little ceramic rings, a pink one and a blue one, were gone, and we never found them again.
Sorry, I just remembered. The smell of popcorn and the 2 rings.
Team, they're like, what? This is taking a turn.
The smell of popcorn. I can't wait to Google the smell of popcorn and ghosts. What does that mean?
We're meant to be talking about your biscuit tin. What's the last little thing on your lap?
It's so funny because here we are talking about magazines and you're saying you've got readers that have been reading for 50 years. I found this. May I read it to you?
Yeah.
Somebody, obviously my dad with his saved library like stamper that he's obviously saved for years and years and years for moments like this, has dated it 5th of October 1995, so I'd have been just 10 years old. Dear Girl Talk, and the eye of Girl Talk has got a flower. I love Girl Talk. Unfortunately, the first issue I read was number 13. If you have spears, not spares, of 1 to 12, brackets, including 12, close brackets, I would be very pleased if you send them to me. I enclose £9 for the cost. I obviously, 12 issues, okay, £9. My address is on the pink form. Lots of love, Melissa Hemsley.
Oh, that is the cutest thing.
And I don't know if, did you read Girl Talk?
I read Twinkle when I was very little. It was more like no, it wasn't that. It was a girl's sort of comic, really.
Oh right.
And then I think Bunty maybe came after that, and then Just 17 and Smash Hits.
Do you remember how much you loved magazines?
Yeah, Just 17, Smash Hits was really my main love. But this is so lovely, and on your lovely stationery as well, with fruits and vegetables across the top. Yeah. Interesting.
Oh,
Throw forward.
You've taken a lot at one glance. And how funny that I had found it when I moved back in just after Christmas.
And your dad has stamped the date stamp with one of those. I love those. So satisfying. The library stamp.
I probably was really annoyed about him touching my... But then I don't know why I've got that. Was it because I wrote that, then realised I'd spelt spears, and infortunale, and then I'd redone another version? Because obviously, why have I got the letter back?
Well, my address is on the pink form. So maybe there was a form in the magazine you could fill out.
Yeah. And then you think they sent my original
issues, maybe. I mean, it's a really sweet, lovely little artefact, that is.
I mean... sweet.
Well,
And obviously
Girl
mum or dad
Talk-
have kept it.
After Girl Talk, what did you then graduate into magazine-wise? Can you remember?
I do remember reading Good Housekeeping very early on.
Really?
And I'm not just saying that, because I've always liked the idea of the practical tips. You're getting a feeling from my family of the kind of the waste not, want not, and the did you know? And in my books...
Was your mum a GHV, did you think? She brought it into the house?
No.
No.
And
you would have bought it yourself.
No. Doctor surgeries, other people's houses, other
you
people's.
Pick it up, yeah.
Again, my mum would have thought, my mum's very much like a not spender, and not that she wouldn't have thought worth it. Maybe read it at the library. We spent a lot, basically at the library every single day. In all my books, I've always got a did you know and like a resourceful tip and a waste not tip. And my editor's always like, no, don't clutter the page, because cookbooks should be, they publish Ottolenghi and Mary Berry, and I've had the same publishers for 15 years. The page should be beautiful. But I'm always like, but that's such a good tip. And now when people say they like my cookbooks, they always go, I love that tip from, your first cookbook that I still do now, and it saves me money, it saves me time. So I always am pushing. And I've often found that my books are a little bit magazine-y in that sense. I've always loved magazines. Still love magazines. Was just at the hairdresser. And, I sort of was a little bit selfish, but it was lunchtime, so it was quite quiet. I was like, this is my time. And I just grabbed like 50. And usually you'd like take a couple and go back, but I was like, I'm taking 50. And as I said, saw the issue of Good Housekeeping live. There's a little roundup with my little face concentrating, signing in it. But I just love hand-holding with two hands, no phone. And I like reading about real women. And I like reading stories of stuff happens, how you rise from the ashes.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny that I had found that, and then forgotten, and then when you said to me, think of 6 things for your biscuit tin, and I thought, God, that really sums up my life, because I just was either reading a magazine or coming back from the library with like my maximum allowance of books, and I just read and read and read, and I'm, probably like the sounds of all mums and dads, don't read too late, or you're gonna, you're gonna not. My mum was, you're never gonna grow. I was this high at age 11, or you're gonna need your eyes fixed. I've got terrible eyesight.
It's hard to imagine a parent asking their child to stop reading now, isn't it? You'd kind of be like...
And my daughter adores reading. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And if I could, my idea of absolute bliss would be biscuit and reading. And if you said to me, do you want to go on a beach, and lie under a palm? I mean, it does sound really nice. But also, would you also like to lie, by a fire with unlimited books and biscuits? I'd probably pick that.
Choose a fire.
I'd like the idea of looking forward to the beach holiday. I'd just be itchy and sweaty.
This is a really practical biscuit tin. I'm really very taken how different the flavour is of your biscuit tin from the other biscuit tins that we've encountered. Do you think that there are... Because these are they're all usable objects, apart from your letter, maybe. That's a bit more of a sort of an artefact rather than a
It is 1995, isn't it? It actually is an artefact.
Yes, it is. Do you think that says anything? What does that tell you about you? Knowing what I've said, how different the way you've approached this task and the way other people have approached it.
I need to call my psychiatrist and ask what she thinks.
This was the teddy that belonged to my daughter when she was first born, and then we've had this doll that my mum made. We've had all kinds of things, and you've approached it in a really different way. What does that say, do you think?
Maybe I didn't read the brief properly.
I think you've absolutely met the brief. You've absolutely met the brief.
It's funny because I was thinking, what would I say from afire? And there really isn't much. I don't think I've got things. I was like looking around, I was looking at, even at my mum's, like photo, like would I? And I just thought about things that, are my comfort blankets or bring me joy or things I reach for every day. And it's so funny looking at them now. There's a knob of ginger, a little spoon, a marble / crystal.
It's not the most aesthetically exciting collection.
Good luck with taking a nice picture of that. What I have enjoyed more than anything is actually, it's been really fun and a bit sad, and then back to fun, experience.
Yeah.
To think about them and pack myself up in my little bag and then think about, gosh, what do things mean to me? And also reminded me how much stuff I've got that means absolutely nothing to me.
Will you do a declutter?
I shall, and I'm going to think about you. Have you thought about your biscuit tin? Are you going to do a big reveal of what's in yours?
I'm sure there'll be enormous demand for that.
Yeah.
and almost certainly
There will
I
be.
will.
The readers
I am
will
quite
want
a
it.
good declutterer though. I declutter on an ongoing basis. I've moved house a lot recently, and so I kind of haven't been able to accumulate lots of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. Thank you
Thanks,
so
Liz.
much for battling the hay fever to chat to us. And I hope
Thank
you
you
feel better
so much.
soon.
Thank you.